Good evening and welcome to the Montebello City Council meeting of September 27th, 2023. I'd like to call this meeting to order at 6:01 p.m. Mr. City Clerk, if you can please call roll.
Councilmember Tamayo,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Peralta,
Present.
Councilmember Jimenez,
Here.
Councilmember Melendez,
Here.
Mayor Torres.
Here. In closed session this evening, we have item number 1, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation under Government Code Section 54956.9, Sections D1, Alicia Mendoza versus County of Los Angeles et al. Number 2, conference with real property negotiators, Government Code Section 54956.8 regarding 2051 West Whittier Boulevard. And lastly, public employee appointment under Government Code Section 54957 regarding the position of city manager. Mr. City Attorney, if you can please read the statement of public oral communications.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. Anyone who wishes to address those 3 items that the City Council will be discussing in closed session should have turned in a card by this time. Has anyone turned in any cards for closed session matters?
No speaker cards for closed session.
Thank you. Then at this time, Mr. Mayor, it's appropriate to recess into closed session.
Thank you, Mr. City Attorney and Mr. Clerk. We will recess into closed session at 6:02 p.m. I would like to call this meeting back to order at 7:09 PM. Mr. City Attorney, can you please give a closed session report?
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. The record should reflect that the City Council recessed into closed session for the 3 items that are listed on the agenda, and that prior to recessing into closed session, those were announced in public. There was no public comment provided on those 3 topics. The first item is the conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, the Mendoza versus County of Los Angeles and City of Montebello. On that matter, the city received a briefing from the city attorney's office. Direction was provided, but there was no action taken that is required to be reported at this time. Moving on to the second item, conference with real property negotiators, the property located at 2051 West Whittier Boulevard, the Montebello Senior Villas. The city council provided authorization for the mayor to execute a subordination agreement on behalf of this property and the terms of the lease, consistent with the terms of the lease, I should say, after review and approval by the city attorney's office. Moving on to item 3, and that was unanimous by all 5 members of the city council. Item number 3, public employee appointment. The city council received a briefing on the status of the recruitment for the city manager's position. Direction was provided, but no action was taken this evening, and there's nothing further to report. Mr. Mayor, that concludes my report from closed session. It's appropriate to continue with the open portion of the meeting at this time.
Thank you, Mr. City Attorney. If you will please rise for the invocation led by our city clerk, Christopher Jimenez.
Thank you, Mayor. Let us bow our heads. We are thankful for this day that you have given us, for its blessings, its opportunities, its challenges. May we appreciate and use each day that comes to us. We pray for strength and guidance for each day as it comes, for each day's duties, for each day's problems. May we be challenged to give our best always, and may we be assured of your presence with us. We ask this in thy name. Amen.
Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. And seeing that we have a group of future leaders in the audience today, I would like to invite from Boy Scout Troop 33, Evan Cipriani, from Girl Scout Troop 5631, Amali Maria, and from Cub Scout Pack 46, Avery Acosta, to the microphone here at the front to lead us in the flag salute.
For those in uniform, please Scout salute. For those not in uniform, please place your right hand over your heart as we do the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. 2. Thank you.
Thank you very much to our future leaders for leading a packed room in our flag salute. Ms. Salazar, are there any corrections to the agenda?
Yes, Mayor. At this time, I'd like to announce that number 5 on the ceremonial presentations, police efforts, crime updates will be moved to the October 11th meeting, and item number 19 has been pulled for a future date.
Thank you, Ms. Salazar. Moving on to ceremonial items and presentations. Item number 4, San Gabriel Valley Council of Governments, a presentation on programs and initiatives.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Torres and honorable members of Montebello City Council. My name is Brielle Salazar. I'm the Regional Housing Trust Manager at the San Gabriel Valley Council of Governments, and I'm joined by my colleague, Carrie Inseung, who is a Senior Project Manager. And we are here today to provide an update of the accomplishments and current and upcoming programs of the San Gabriel Valley Council of Governments. Prior to jumping into those accomplishments and updates, wanted to give an overview of what it is that the COG does. And what is a COG? The San Gabriel Valley Council of Governments is a joint powers authority which has member cities, 31 cities, including Montebello, 2 supervisorial districts, and 3 municipal water districts. And the COG runs a multitude of programs, but those can all be put into the umbrellas of the 4 categories listed here, which includes meeting common needs, providing local answers, and improving quality of life and placing our neighbors first. For that first category of meeting common needs, the COG provides regional solutions and implements programs to meet the needs of our various cities, including the Vehicle Miles Traveled program and Food Recovery program, with which Montebello participates in both of those. For our next category, local answers, the COG innovates to meet the needs of the unique communities that comprise it. For the city of Montebello, if you take a look at that picture on the top left, you will see Operation Stay Safe, which is 30 interim housing units here in the city in partnership with the amazing staff at your Montebello Community Assistance Program. Can't thank them enough for their collaborative partnership. And the large check in this photo here is something else the COG does, helps to secure funding for our cities. So this in particular was a $2 million federal earmark from Congresswoman Linda Sanchez, which supports the workforce development program that Montebello participates in, and some of the residents of Operation Stay Safe will be served from that funding. On our next slide, which is quality of life, the COG works to improve the health, safety, and livability of the San Gabriel Valley for its residents. This includes improving safety on freeways and corridors that connect our communities and encouraging the use of public transit and bike lanes. Carrie, in a little bit, is going to provide an update on a corridor project in your city. And for our last category, neighbors first, the COG strives to improve quality of life for all of its residents, but particularly for its most vulnerable residents. So the city of Montebello has proved to be at the forefront of affordable housing. The Regional Housing Trust has funded 2 projects here in your city, which includes Vista to JJ Rodriguez, which closed in June and held its groundbreaking and will be 63 units of affordable housing. And then the Boulevard, which will close later this year and provide 81 units of affordable housing for families here in Montebello. And with that, I will turn it over to Carrie.
Let me advance the slide. We are happy to report that this last fiscal year, SGV COG received $74 million in funding from federal, state, and local sources. Some of these include federal earmarks, LA County Measure H funding, state grant funding, and funding from LA Metro. These are just some of the accomplishments we made last year. Through our programs aimed at addressing homelessness, we served over 2,800 clients, which included the Mobile SGV Cares program, of which your city is a participant, for homelessness, mental health, and crisis response. We've also done targeted street outreach, provided housing navigation, and other support services. We relaunched the Go SGV Bike Share program, which your city also participates in. It's a program for electric bike sharing, and prices start at just $49 a month for students, which includes an e-bike, a lock, and a charger. We provided 105 units of tiny homes for persons and families experiencing homelessness. We broke ground on the 5760 Interchange Improvement Project, aimed at relieving congestion along a 2-mile stretch of the 5760 confluence. We completed yet another component of the Alameda Corridor East program with the completion of the Fairway Avenue Grade Separation Project in the city of Walnut. And we launched our workforce development program, which has supported 51 participants so far. This program provides job training, case management, and wraparound services to persons experiencing homelessness, including some of the residents at your city's tiny homes location. Looking ahead to the remainder of this fiscal year, we are already hard at work at several programs. For the Alameda Corridor East program, we will begin construction on 2 grade separations, which are Turnbull Canyon and Hacienda Heights, and of course, the Montebello Boulevard grade separation project here in your city. This fiscal year, we will also be completing the San Gabriel Valley Transit Feasibility Study and establishing 3 regional food recovery hubs. Your city is included in the Transit Feasibility Study, which aims to find short-term and long-term transit options. I also wanted to add, just going back to the Montebello project, that since I last appeared before your council in March 2023, we have awarded the construction contract to OHLA Incorporated, who just so happens to have recently completed our Fairway Avenue grade separation project. The contract amount to OHL was $127 million. You may not see much happening on the surface, but we are busy behind the scenes. We've been meeting with utility companies in preparation for major utility relocations. We're working on mobilizing the contractor, applying for permits, and setting up our field offices. We've been meeting with affected businesses where Maple meets the railroad tracks. We've had one initial meeting with your transportation department and Adriana Kendricks, because we know that the future closure of Montebello Boulevard during construction will affect bus route 20. We've also promised to keep the transportation department in the loop and to work closely with them as we finalize our closure dates. We've also met with Chief Espinoza and his staff with your police department. And looking ahead to the next 4 months, we'll be planning to have an open house for the community, to start demolition of the properties along Montebello Way, and to prepare for a groundbreaking ceremony. We're still working out the dates, and we will keep your staff informed as soon as we can. But just, if I can speak in general terms, the community open house, we're planning to have that sometime in early December. It's just the way, we know it's bad timing with regards to the holidays, but it's just the way that the timing is working out. We are looking to start demolition of the properties along Montebello Way as early as late October, possibly start early November. And the groundbreaking ceremony, we are planning to have that sometime in early 2024. Again, I'm sorry, I don't have concrete dates for you. I could give you concrete dates, but I don't have anything to back those up with, so I'd rather wait until we're sure about the dates, and that way I can give you something a lot more definite. But in general, those are the timelines that we're looking at. And going back to our presentation, here are a few more projects we're looking to complete this current fiscal year. We're planning to do 60 home energy reviews as part of the Efficient SGV program. We're looking to expand the SGV Care Mobile Crisis Program to 3 additional cities. And related to the 5760 Interchange Improvement Project, we will be reopening the Diamond Bar Golf Course this fiscal year. This concludes our update on SGV COG's activities. If there are any questions, Brielle and I are available now, or if we don't have the answers, we'd be happy to get back to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Going down the order, Councilmember Tamayo, any questions or comments?
Thank you very much for the presentation and for addressing the issues that are facing our community with housing, infrastructure, food hubs, and then also our big project, which would be the separation project that's upcoming. So thank you for the updates. I appreciate it. I also appreciate that SGV, the COG comes to the table with funds to do these projects, because that is very important. And as we know, these projects get layered with all different types of funds. So your contribution is what makes these projects happen. So thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Peralta.
Yes, overall, just very thankful for your presence and presentation, informing us on the various different projects and initiatives that the COG is conducting throughout our region, as well as Montebello. There's been a lot of chit chatter around the community about the Grade Separation Project, which has been in the making for Montebello for, I think, over 10 years now. So thank you for providing insight as far as the background work that is being conducted, as we will begin seeing more of the external work that our community will be seeing in the incoming months. So thank you so much for the updates today.
Councilmember Jimenez.
Thank you, ladies. I agree with everything my colleagues just said. This has always been, I think, a very significant and beautiful partnership. And I think City of Montebello is very lucky that we're part of this COG as well as Gateway's COG. But I particularly feel especially just the whole tiny homes project. That was, I think, one of the most beautiful partnerships. But moving forward with the grade separation, I would ask, even if you don't have the dates for the groundbreaking, I don't feel like that's as important as the date for the outreach and for the town halls, because three of us that sit here up on the dais have our districts, which go into that, that are part of that space. And that's something that, again, it's been a long time coming. So I think those dates for me are probably more important than the groundbreaking, just the outreach, because we know we've anticipated, we've already pictured and imagined everything that, again, we want this, but everything that it's going to cause in the area, just to have our residents informed. But thank you.
Councilmember Melendez.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. As a representative for the COG, I get to see all the hard work that you all do to get all the cities together and to be able to put some great solutions to a lot of the issues that we're all facing. For the community to understand, having a COG like this, it's easier to get some federal funding, state funding in order to help a lot of the regional issues. So cities come together to be able to on the table and figure out a way that these funds can be distributed out to the community, because many of us of the cities in the San Gabriel Valley and just all around us are facing similar issues. So sometimes, well, not sometimes, but when we all come together, we're able to come up with some solutions to address the homelessness, to address the economic development issues. So everything that you all do to put everything together, we're extremely thankful. Thank you for working with our staff. Our Montebello Community Assistance Program has been extremely grateful of the partnership and the funding and the support, not just for the tiny homes, for the building of the tiny homes, but also the wraparound services. So we're extremely thankful to be part of the COG, and we'll continue to work with all of you, and hopefully we get more money and more funding for projects here in Montebello. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sinseong and Salazar, for your presentation, giving us a wider breadth of understanding on what the COG does and also some of the details that we can expect as it relates to the grade separation project in Montebello. Every time we discuss this, I get excited because I was attending these council meetings 5 and 6 years ago when conversations on this dais and some of the more extraordinary demands delayed this project to the point that we see now. We weren't able to get it together back then, and got dropped in the list. So it's great to be here at this point and to have an imminent groundbreaking. I just have a few questions as it relates to the project. It sounds like there may have been some updates to some of the timelines that were presented in spring or summer. Initially, it was stated that there would start to be improvements at the crossings of Greenwood, Maple, and Vale starting this fall. Is that still anticipated to begin? I know you said that there's work behind the scenes and utilities.
No, and I'm sorry if I misspoke last March when I was here with respect to the timeline. The timeline that we're working towards for the crossings, which, as you know, are going to provide the detours for the Montebello closure. So the detours are going to be at Greenwood and at Vale. We're looking to start work on those detours, I would say the first quarter of 2024. But what we're looking to do at the last part of this calendar year is to start demolition of the properties get some of the community outreach, the open house that I had talked about. I also wanted to just reassure you that we had already been in conversations with your Public Works Department about where we can have this community open house. So we were already looking at possible locations to hold it. We want to make sure that it's accessible to your community. We want to make sure that it's, in this area to make it as easy as possible for residents to attend. But the timeline is demolition, community open house, groundbreaking, and then to start the work on the detours on the at-grade crossings in first quarter of 2024.
And will that be in conjunction with any construction on Montebello Boulevard? Because it was also my understanding that the underpass would be about a year delayed from what the activity we saw on the other 3 crossings. Is that still accurate?
So the detours have to be in place and operational on Vale and Greenwood before we can start closing Montebello Boulevard down. Speaking in general terms, we're expecting the closure of Montebello Boulevard to happen in mid-summer 2024.
Thank you. And this information is very helpful. Most of the project lies within my district, District 4, with Greenwood, Maple, and Vale. As my colleague mentioned, outreach, I think, is going to be really essential here just because there's kind of 2 different things going on. Along Montebello Boulevard, it's probably going to be hard to let everyone know what's going on because it handles 20,000 cars a day, and not all of them are Montebello residents. But as for Maple and Vale and along Greenwood, obviously those are businesses with commuters. They're residents that rely on these those streets and surrounding streets for their daily commutes and their daily needs. I know you have probably like your parameters in place, but just having I think some sensitivity to particularly the residents that are along streets like Pickering Way and whatnot that are going to be like feeding into some of these streets. If there could be any consideration that usual boundaries and parameters could be extended a little bit, because these are small communities that really just filter out onto these major boulevards. And 500 feet or 1,000 feet might not cover the full community. I see you nodding here, so yeah. you understand the issue.
Yes, I understand. And like we explained to you, we do have a robust public outreach program. One of the components is going door to door, literally knocking on every door to let the residents know about what's going on, leaving door hangers, you name it. But if we can definitely come back to the districts that are affected to let you know this is what we're planning to do on these dates. And if you think that we need to change those parameters, we'd be more than happy to do that and extend our coverage area, I guess.
And if it's possible for council to join you in those door-to-door efforts, we'd love to see some of the dates and invitations, and I would invite all of my colleagues to join me in District 4 to let everybody know.
I haven't forgotten what you said,
Excellent.
that you were going to come with us, so yeah.
Excellent, very good. Let's see, and I guess Jess, my last comment here, and you may already be aware, but we have some issues with train traffic along the tracks, and this is just, I guess, kind of a heads up. Ms. Salazar, we were talking about this earlier this week. We had an incident 2 weeks ago where a train was stopped on the tracks for about 2 hours, or more than 2 hours, so just the way, and that doesn't seem to be a completely foreign occurrence. We've seen a couple times a week where they're stuck for 30 and 45 minutes. So I don't know if you guys have been able to see those impacts yet, but you might want to just check in with the rail lines and with city staff to see what kind of effects we've had and and how that might affect any kind of operations that you guys are planning in that area. Because yeah, these trains can be a little difficult and get in the way.
We have regular meetings with Union Pacific Railroad. We actually have a meeting tomorrow, so I can definitely bring this up and ask our representative about that.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. Thank you. And actually, just one last point. As you meet with city staff, if city staff could just kind of provide some synopses, some minutes or whatnot on these conversations, so council kind of stays apprised on what the latest is. You guys are doing, a lot of work. This is a massive, like, I think the second or third largest project that I've seen on my time in council, which is kind of cool that we're accomplishing so much. But it would be great to keep updated just so that we can give our residents kind of like the most up-to-date information. So I appreciate everyone working together, and thank you so much for your presentation.
Thank you.
Number 5 on the agenda, police efforts and crime updates, is going to be moved to the October 13th meeting. Item number 6, certificate of recognition for Barry. Chief Espinoza, you have the floor.
We'll save this for Barry. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, would like to introduce you to our canine police dog, Barry. And you can see Barry has his own individual badge here, right? So we are happy to announce, after 5.5 years of service, that Barry is going to retire. Actually, he has retired. And as a matter of fact, Barry's been retired now for a couple months, right? So we just caught up with our presentation here. But as in retirement, I was talking to my canine, Sergeant Marquez, my canine handler, and he had a little trouble getting Barry's vest on. Because you know what happens when you go into retirement, right? You start to eat a little bit more, right? So that being said, we do know that Barry is enjoying retirement. He's living a good life. Barry was one of our best dogs, did a lot of good work for us. And I want to say Barry was part of that incident we had on Olympic Lane, right? One of the suspects that he had. So I think some of you might remember that we had a suspect crash into a building over at Olympic Lane, and Barry helped us apprehend that person who was very combative. So he helped protect your community. So on behalf of Barry, we'd like to present Sergeant Taylor Marquez for Barry, so he can post this in his doghouse, and he can work for Barry.
Thank you. I'm not good with speeches. I'd like to thank the council, Chief Espinoza, Chief Cabrera, Captain Isaac, and Captain Lopez. Again, I'm not good with speeches, but it's one of the best gigs in the department. It really is. You go to work with your best friend, four-legged friend. So I don't know why I'm getting a little emotional right now. Jeez. But it truly is the best gig, and he kept me safe, my partner's safe, and all you guys safe out there. So thank you. So thank you.
And I'd also like to thank, obviously, this council and previous council that have supported our efforts to fund our canine program. I mean, these dogs are put at as much risk as our officers, if not even more, right? So on occasion, we lose some of them. So thank you all for being here and helping Barry with his last day out. We have some treats for Barry out back, so we're.
Got a little emotional.
He's your partner, that's all. That's why his vest don't work. He's ready. Oh my God, it's a big old donut.
Don't tell Hillary I let him eat in here.
There, thank you. Well, congratulations, and you get to take it home. Thank you.
One more shot.
Can I do it down here with Barry?
Give him that today. Good?
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Chief, you know what happened?
Not for you. No, not for me.
Not for you. I love how he's like, where's the rest of this man? I mean, if you want.
Moving on to the next portion of the agenda, public comments on non-agenda items. Mr. City Attorney, can you please read the statement of public oral communications?
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. At this time, any member of the public that wishes to address the City Council on both agenda and non-agenda items prior to the beginning of this statement should fill out a card, have filled out a card with the City Clerk's office. City Council will address non-agenda items during this session, and speakers will be called on in the order that those cards were received. The persons not accommodated during the first 30-minute period will have an opportunity to speak under public comments continued after all matters have been considered. Please be aware the maximum time allotted for members to speak shall not exceed 3 minutes per speaker. Also that public hearing and regular business and our consent calendar items will be addressed at the time that the matter of the business is heard in the order that the cards are also received. With that, do we have any speaker cards for non-agenda items?
Yes, we do.
Please proceed.
First speaker is Emilio, followed by Avery Acosta.
Pero solo hablo español.
It's
No
all
hablo
in
inglés.
Spanish.
Perfecto. Bueno,
Perfect.
es un placer el hablarle a ustedes.
It's a pleasure to speak before you.
No estoy acostumbrado a tener este tipo de conversación
I'm
con
not
gente
used
tan
to-
importante como ustedes.
I'm not used to be in this situation like
Espero que
as
mi
important as
mensaje,
you are.
espero que mi mensaje les llegue
I hope my message gets to you
a una comprensión de
To-
lo que hoy vive la humanidad y más el trabajador.
to a comprehension, to an awareness of what today a worker and humanity lives.
Yo vivo en la Wilcox Boulevard,
I live on Wilcox Boulevard,
entre la Beverly Boulevard y la Lincoln.
between Beverly Boulevard and Lincoln.
En ese proyecto hay como 200 apartamentos.
In this project, there's about 200 apartments.
Vivo desde hace cerca de 12 años.
I've been there about 12 years.
En el 2008-2007 yo era una persona millonaria.
In 2008, I was a millionaire.
En el 2009-2008 lo perdí todo.
In 2009, 2008, I lost everything.
Y estuve a punto de suicidarme como tanta gente se suicidó.
I was about to commit suicide, as many people did commit suicide.
Si no me suicidé fue por mis hijos, porque soy padre y madre de unos...
If I didn't commit suicide, it's because I am a mother and a father for my children.
Como digo, me tuve que ir a vivir a las Wilcos.
I had to, as I said, I had to move to Wilcox.
Pagaba 1.250 al mes.
At that time, I used to pay $1,250 a month.
Hoy se está pagando $2.500 mensuales.
Today, that is $2,500 a month.
Un trabajador pagando $2.500, más aparte si tiene que pagar el carro, aseguranza, luz, gas, antes de comer él y comer sus hijos, tiene que ganar un mínimo de $50,000 al año.
Yeah, for a regular worker that has to pay the car, $2,500 plus the expenses for the car, for the insurance, the gas, the electricity, has to make about $50,000 a year.
Esto implica que $36,000 son los pagos de carro, gasolina, renta y demás cosas, sin comer.
That would imply that $36,000 would be paying for a car, gas, rent, without food.
¿Qué hace esa familia para poder sobrevivir?
What can a family like that do in order to survive?
Tiene que rentar un cuarto.
They had to rent a room.
Y tiene que rentar la sala también.
Including the living room as well.
Implica que ahí pueden vivir 10 y 12 personas en un apartamento de 2 recámaras.
Implying that you have 10 people, 12 people in one apartment of 2 bedrooms.
Ocasionando como tal, fácil que cada apartamento tiene 5 carros a 4 carros como mínimo.
Creating difficulties to park in like wherever you have.
Esto quiere decir que son 800 a 1,000 carros en esa área de la Wilcox y la Lincoln.
This means that on Wilcox and Lincoln you have 800 to 1,000 cars.
Tienen derecho para parquearse algunos 2 carros como máximo y otros solo un carro.
Maximum you have 2 cars. In some situations you can only use 1 parking space.
Los señores tienen que parquearse en la calle.
These gentlemen need to park in the street.
Desde la Beverly Boulevard hasta la Lincoln solo se le pueden parquear 14 carros nada más.
From Beverly to Lincoln you can only park 14 cars only.
Si ustedes conocen el área, estoy diciendo la verdad. Pueden ir a comprobarlo.
You can go and find out on your own. You can prove it if you know the area.
Para la parte del West, si ustedes van en la noche, todo está completamente parqueado.
At night,
son residenciales.
On the West, everything is parked because it's a residential area.
Perdón, se cayó un papel.
Excuse me. Here.
Por la Lincoln Boulevard nadie se puede parquear, ni para el West ni para el East.
On Lincoln, nobody can park, either West or East.
¿Qué hizo la ciudad de Montebello?
Anteriormente the city of Montebello did?
Anteriormente no se necesitaban permisos para parquearse.
Before you didn't have permits to park.
La 21 tampoco se puede parquear.
On the 21st Street you cannot park either.
Hay una de San Antonio que ahí ya nos estamos invadiendo y que supuestamente se van a unir los residentes para firmar el 65%, que ya automáticamente tampoco te puedes parquear.
On San Antonio, you cannot, there's about 65% where they're getting together to avoid parking.
Solo tenemos una calle nada más para parquearnos.
We only have one street to park.
Que es la Victoria.
Which is Victoria.
Y la 21 hacia el sur.
And 21 going
hacia el McDonald's.
South, that was towards McDonald's.
El que quiere parquearse se tiene que parquear por toda la Victoria, casi hasta la 20.
Whoever wants to park needs to go all the way from Victoria all the way to 20th Street.
Ahora la pregunta que le hago yo a ustedes, señores.
Question that I am asking to you,
Esas
gentlemen.
personas que vivimos en los apartamentos, ¿dónde nos podemos parquear el día de mañana? Porque en el mall no
Where
tampoco
can
nos
we
podemos
park
parquear.
for the people, for us that live in those apartments?
Las disposiciones que ustedes están teniendo para los permisos de parking hoy no deberían de hacerse porque sufre muchísima gente.
The restrictions that you have to park, the restrictions for parking, you
thank
shouldn't
you.
have because there's a lot of people that suffers because of that.
Deben de eliminar esas
Mr. Interpreter, will you please
disposiciones.
let the speaker know that his time
Deben de pensar en las necesidades del trabajador. La justicia y los principios son lo más importantes en el ser humano, no disposiciones para la gente minoría y no para la mayoría. He dicho. Piénselo, por favor. Piénselo. Y a ver si, por favor, la Lincoln puede uno volverse a parquear de nuevo.
Sir, your time has elapsed.
¿Ha sido demasiado?
Sí.
¿Ustedes creen que he hecho algo?
Sir, your time has elapsed.
Ya se acabó el tiempo.
Ya se acabó el tiempo, ¿no? ¿Ustedes me entendieron? ¿Me entendieron? ¿Y qué piensa?
Sir, your time has elapsed. Mr. Clerk, if we can please call the next speaker.
Ya me voy. Ha sido un placer. Muchas gracias.
Next speaker is Avery Acosta, followed by Hannah Vasquez.
For our guest this evening, if I can just politely remind the audience that this is a business meeting and we should refrain from clapping and outbursts, that would be much appreciated. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Avery Costa from Pack 45. I'm a Bear Scout. I would like to thank you guys for not taking away the Scout hut. I would like to thank you guys because this will give us much more activities to explore. Thank you.
Next speaker is Hannah Vasquez, followed by Sarah Valenzuela.
Good evening. My name is Hannah Vasquez. I'm a former Bella Vista Dragon. This will be my 8th year as a Girl Scout. You may have seen my Girl Scout troop working alongside the Leos of Montebello and the Boy Scouts. On behalf of my Girl Scout troop 5631, we'd like to thank the city of Montebello for saving our beloved Scout House. We have cultivated core memories and have prepped for service projects for our community in Montebello. We love the people of the city, especially our friends at Golden Manor Retirement Home. It is our Girl Scout troop's greatest privilege to serve the great city of Montebello. Whether it be for our veterans, families in need, or our pals at Golden Manor, thank you for investing in our future Scout home. Even though we're kids, we make a difference in Montebello. Thank you, 3000.
Next speaker is Sarah Valenzuela, followed by Oscar Becerra.
Good evening, Montebello City Council. My name is Sarah Valenzuela, a proud member of Troop 33 and member of the Leos Club of Montebello. 8 months ago, I had the privilege of addressing this council to emphasize the role of our beloved Bicknell Park Scout Hut and how it plays such a vital role in our community. I share with you not only the emotional connection that numerous families have had with this home, but also share the significance that this home will continue to have in our city as a whole. Today, I am delighted to return under much brighter circumstances with a heart full of gratitude for each and every single one of you sitting up there tonight. Your unwavering commitment to preserving our Scout House has and will continue to have a profound impact on the lives of countless youth in Montebello. On behalf of Troop 33 and the Leos of Montebello, I want to express my sincere appreciation for the thoughtful decision you all made and the tireless efforts you all put forth in the best interest of the people of Montebello. Your dedication to our community's growth and the well-being of its youth is something truly, truly commendable. While city officials and you all worked with us to hear our concerns, we would also like to especially thank the following community members who provided us with support and great strides during our efforts: Yvette and Henry Fimbres, Will Cervera, Margaret Inser, and Linda Strong. We deeply appreciate your recognition of the Scout Hut's value and its lasting positive impact you've made on our future leaders. Your decision to support the youth and preserve the Scout Hut will definitely be remembered as the right one. We are immensely grateful for your support and look forward to continuing our mission of serving Montebello together. Thank you.
Next speaker is Oscar Becerra, followed by Margot Iser.
Hello, Montebello City Council. My name is Oscar Becerra. I'm the current president of the Montebello Lions Club. On behalf of the club, I'd like to thank each and one of you for saving the Scout Hut, which was built by the Lions in 1951. I'd also like to hand out a certificate of appreciation to Mayor David Torres for an appreciation as a thank you for speaking, at our meeting on September the 5th. So thank you for everything that you guys do, and thank you for saving the Scout Hut once again.
Next speaker is Margot Iser, followed by Adriana Dugan.
This is very appropriate. I'm Margot Iser. I live by what once was the golf course. However, what I'm here tonight to do is to ask you to please let me know, I know you can't act upon it, but how do we, the people in each district and each neighborhood, get done what we need to have done, such as in my neighborhood, we need some disabled ramps put in. We need a speed limit sign on like Garfield Avenue. There's people zooming around. We need paving of streets. I've gone on streets that are just, and they're just totally ignored. What do we have to do? Could you please somehow maybe let me know what has to be done to get us to be able to get done in our city, in our different districts, in our different neighborhoods in a timely fashion? And then also it relates to the golf course, which we don't have anymore, and that I was gonna bring it up on item 20, but it's very good that you did keep that, Scout House, but I also wanna know how we can participate in doing what remains of the golf course participating to turn it into a public park and an area for actual outdoor exercise without the danger of golf balls and things like that. That even the scouts can then use it because there could be a restoration of some native habitat, and there could be some way for, people walk their dogs there anyway, and that could be an exercise area, so it could be safe that way. I heard there's a rumor that they want to put in more apartments or another hotel or something. I hope that that can be stopped. That's an item 20. I'm going to discuss something else. But I would appreciate that we do have a way of communicating how we need things done. And I lost my cane today at the 99-cent store. But the point is to go down those curbs when you have to go. It's very hard for people who have a little disability, and we have 3 curbs that need it in my neighborhood. So please help us find out a way to do that. And I appreciate that the scouts are here. They're learning about the city, and I like that we are able to respond, and I'm glad you responded to them. We need a lot more of that in our city, and I would like to, I'll discuss something else later, but we do have precious treasure, and it's got to be kept up, and I'm glad that we have people. I want you to listen to it, help us do what we need to have done in the city, and let us know what we have to do to get it done, okay? I don't know if I went beyond 3 minutes, but it would be a nice surprise. And I used to be a Girl Scout in the house in Montebello, in the park. Montebello Park had a Girl Scout house. And I did my fly-up ceremony. We had an overnight there. We cooked outside, and it was just wonderful. And then they tore that one down. So I hope that, I'm so glad the little old one is being, and it is a park, Bicknell Park, and that could be the name of the public park and what remains of the golf course. And that I'd like to have you consider that. And That'll be in item 20. I will be discussing more of that. So here we go, Scouts forever, and happy are we. And I appreciate that, which I really appreciate. I was told the assistant city manager might be able to do something, and I would like to know what the proper procedure is to get things done. Thank you.
Ms. Salazar? If the audience can please refrain from clapping as we try to communicate. Ms. Salazar, if staff can please reach out to Ms. Iser in particular regards to traffic and safety and ADA questions, how we get those moving forward. Thank you.
Next speaker is Adriana Dugan, followed by Ana Jurado.
Good evening, Mayor David Torres and City Council. We are very proud to be hosting the State of the City Address and Luncheon this year. And I'm here just to announce to make sure that you register. October 6th is the deadline to register online. So please do so. It is Thursday, October 12th. It is on our social media, and it's open to everyone. So please register so we can hear our mayor address our community and address all the wonderful updates that the city is doing here in our community. Thank you.
Next speaker is Ana Jurado, followed by Linda Nicholas.
Good evening, Mayor Torres, Council. My direction is here to Ms. Peralta. My asking you if you became an American citizen was not a challenge to your legitimacy as a councilwoman, nor to spew hatred, as Will Severa and all his followers accuse me of doing. A simple yes or no would have sufficed. You proudly mentioned in your City of Montebello dossier that you and your mother came to the United States as immigrants from Mexico. You also proudly mentioned the extent of your education, which you deserve to be proud of. You accomplished the American dream and the freedom to reach your goals. Becoming a citizen is a gesture of thanks to our United States Armed Forces and veterans who fought for those freedoms for everyone. Also, you have veterans who work for City of Montebello, management staff, who deserve to be treated with dignity and respect by the mayor and all the councils. Veterans Day celebration is upon us soon. I can only hope that you, Ms. Peralta, Mayor David Torres, and Ms. Georgina Tamayo be present this time and not miss the opportunity to say to veterans, citizens of Montebello, and honor all veterans of our armed forces who sacrifice so much. It's asking so little for so much that has been given to us. Thank you. I want this for the record, please. Thank you.
Next speaker is Linda Nicholas, followed by Rosemary Torres.
Good evening. My name is Linda Nicholas. I'm co-founder of Match 90640. My address is on file. This evening, I'd like to bring to the attention of the council the front page story of the Whittier Daily newspaper. In the article, many people were named for accepting bribes, racketeering and money laundering, etc. Also, it states charges, indictments are being filed. It states at least one other case is going to be filed was going to file within the past year, currently under seal and is pending. Hopefully, it will stop the corruption involving the pot dispensaries you are planning to open here in Montebello. The saddest part of the article, our City of Montebello is named in the ongoing investigation. Not if, but when the indictments are filed here on certain council members, our beloved city's good name will also be tarnished. I received calls from friends from other cities telling me how sad all of my hard work to clean up our city was thrown away so fast in a matter of a few months by the new crooks selling away Montebello to the highest bidder. It's a very well-known fact. 2 council members received over $10,000 each from interested people wanting those pot licenses for dispensaries. My only advice is to do what Pacheco and Chavez did. Make a deal with the FBI. First one to squeal makes the deal. Can I leave you a copy for that?
Next speaker is Rosemary Torres, followed by Rosa Tamayo.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Rosemary Torres. My address is on file. I had a very successful neighborhood watch meeting in my neighborhood. And I have certificates of appreciation for Chief Espinoza, Councilwoman Angie, Detective David Kim, Sergeant Omar Rodriguez, Officer Josie Arana, and Officer Jennifer Murrow. They had so much information for my neighbors. There was almost 30 of us in my driveway. It was beautiful. And they were so well-versed, the staff. And I just wanted to say thank you. And if you can get these certificates to them, I'd appreciate it.
Next speaker, Rosa Tamayo, followed by Tila Gregorian.
Buenas noches.
Good evening.
Mayor de... Okay, thank you. Mayor David Torres y miembro del
Mayor
Concilio.
David Torres.
Quiero decirles que ninguno de los 5 concejales
I would like to tell you,
saben el trabajo
none of the 5 councils know the job
que hace el Departamento de la Policía,
not the job that the police department do,
ni el Departamento de Bomberos.
or the fire department.
Y tampoco saben el trabajo de los directores.
You don't know either the
Porque-
job that the directors do,
Porque ellos tienen ciertas licencias que ustedes no las tienen.
because they have certain licenses that you guys don't have.
Y lo que pasa es que ustedes interfieren en el trabajo de algunos directores
And what happens is that you guys
o
interfere.
también de los departamentos de los servicios de la ciudad,
You guys interfere with some workers of the
con
city workers,
especulaciones
speculating.
y lo que pasa es que cuando se interfiere con los empleados,
And what happens is that
Hay la
whenever there's some
consecuencia-
interference with the employees, the consequence is
de que las demandas son muy altas
that the
y son de millones
lawsuits are very high. You're talking about millions,
y nos estamos quedando sin dinero.
and we're ending up without funds.
Sí entra cierto dinero, pero la cosa es que estamos en una inflación y tienen que cuidar el dinero.
We are in inflation where the money has to be taken care of.
Y la vida es efímera
Life is ephemeral
para cada uno de nosotros.
for each one of us.
Así que, por favor, les pido que no interfieran con los empleados
So that's why I ask you not to interfere with employees
y no sigan con sus tradiciones.
and not continue with your traditions.
Estamos en el 2023
We are in year 2023.
y quiero decirle también al abogado Arnold Álvarez
I also want to address Attorney Arnold Alvarez
que proteja a la ciudad.
to protect the city.
Ese es su trabajo de usted.
That
Por
is,
eso le
your-
pagan.
That's your job, that's why you're getting paid.
Es todo lo que yo quiero decirles.
That's all I want to say.
Next speaker is Tila Gregorian, followed by Yvette Fimbres.
Good evening, Montebello Council members and residents of our beloved city. My name is Sheila Gregorian. I've been a resident of Montebello for longer than most of you have been here, have been alive. But anyway, and I do love my city, and I really get very concerned at times when I see things happening that just don't make sense. And it makes me wonder where this money comes from. And I'm really concerned with you, David, that you were out traveling the world. You haven't worked for 3 years. Where does this money come from? Unless you have a very rich sugar daddy that pays for your expenses, it makes me wonder who's paying you off. When somebody spends so much money and they're not earning that money, it worries me as to who's paying you off. And I'm sorry you look at me like you have daggers in your eyes, but that's okay. I can live with that. Because my city is the most important thing in my life. I've lived here for longer than you've been alive, and I intend to live here probably longer than you're going to be around. But anyway, thank you. I just wanted to voice my concerns. Thank you.
Next speaker is Yvette Fembris.
Good evening, Mayor Torres, Mayor Pro Tem Peralta, and Council. I'm here speaking in my personal capacity as a Montebello resident, constituent, and First Amendment right. Let your speech always be gracious, seasoned with salt, so that you may know how you ought to answer each person. The worst waste of time is arguing with a fool and fanatic who doesn't care about the truth or reality, but only the victory of their beliefs and illusions. Never waste time on discussions that make no sense. There are people who, for all evidence presented to them, do not have the ability to understand, and others who are blinded by ego, hatred, and resentment. And the only thing they want is to be right, even if they are not. When ignorance screams, intelligence keeps quiet. Your peace and tranquility are worth more. I have to commend Mayor Torres, Mayor Pro Tem Peralta, and Councilwoman Tamayo for their exemplary poise and grace when continuous false and phony claims come out of the mouth of bitter, disgruntled, hurt individuals who lost not only an election, but obviously lost their self-worth in the process. They come here continuously, not with solutions, but rather with personal attacks that obviously are coming from their own shortcomings, such as not having a career and having to hold up a mask to disguise what they have not been able to accomplish in life, and divert their lack and ability in speaking to hurt others. They can only wish to be Mayor Torres, Mayor Pro Tem Peralta, and Councilwoman Tamayo, distinguished, professional, trusted, integral, accountable, intelligent, beautiful, and genuine. Please know, Mayor Torres, Mayor Pro Tem Peralta, and Councilwoman Tamayo, that you are loved, respected, and appreciated. When I speak of my 3 council representatives, I am proud and speak with confidence, knowing that you 3 are competent, articulate, eloquent in your presence to the community, businesses, and other government entities. 1 Peter 3:3-4 tells us beauty should not come from the outward adornments. Rather, it should be that of your inner self, the unfading beauty of a gentle and quiet spirit, which is of great worth in God's sight. Let your inner light and beauty continue to shine bright. Thank you.
Mayor, that does conclude all speaker cards.
Thank you, Mr. City Clerk, and thank you to all of our speakers for participating in the democratic process. Ms. Salazar, are there any staff communications on items of community interest?
No, Mayor, there are not.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 7, a public hearing. This is first reading and introduction of ordinance numbers 2466, 2467, and 2468, approving a text of code amendment, in quotes, TCA, case number PC 2023-0006-TCA. amending Chapter 17.62, that would be signs of the Montebello Municipal Code to include regulations related to conversions of off-premises signs. The applicant seeks to enter into 2 amended and restated development agreements between the City of Montebello and Clear Channel Outdoor LLC, replacing development agreements number 02-22, agreement number 4032, and development agreement number 0322, agreement number 4033, for the relocation and replacement of existing lawfully permitted dual-faced 12-foot and 12-foot by 25-foot static off-premises outdoor advertising signs located at 1633 Washington Boulevard and 1720 Bluff Road in the city of Montebello, with a new 12-foot by 25-foot dual-faced digital off-premises outdoor advertising sign at each respective location. Ms. Salazar, do we have a presentation on the item?
We do not. We have staff available if there are any questions.
I will look across the dais and see if any of my colleagues have questions on the item.
We'd also have to open the public hearing, Mr. Mayor.
Is that after?
Okay.
And seeing that there are no questions, I will open the public hearing at 8:14 p.m. Mr. City Clerk, are there any comments, public comments on the item?
No speaker cards for this agenda item, Mayor.
Thank you very much. I will close the public hearing at 8:15 p.m. It is now for council to make a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Councilmember Melendez. Is there a second? I'll second. Second by Councilmember Jimenez. Mr. City Clerk, if you can please take the roll.
Councilmember Tamayo?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Peralta?
Aye.
Councilmember Jimenez? Aye. Councilmember Melendez?
Aye.
Mayor Torres?
Aye. The item passes unanimously. Moving on to regular business, item number 8, adopt resolution number 2369, updating the compensation plan and table of organization to adjust police trainee salary range. Ms. Salazar, is there a presentation on the item?
No, Mayor, there is not. However, we do have staff available to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. I'll go down the order here for any questions. Councilmember Tamayo?
No questions.
Mayor Pro Tem Peralta?
Yes, I do have just 1 or 2 questions, if I should direct them. Thank you. Just understanding what is the estimated number of police trainees that we expect to attend the 6-month police academy in this fiscal year budget?
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem. So just to kind of give you. Yes, Mayor Pro Tem. To answer that question, we anticipate typically 2 to 3 trainees to be going through the program at any given time. Just to kind of give you an idea, in the state of the profession, we typically get around 200 applicants for a police trainee opening. On average, 1 to 2% actually make it through all the different steps of the background. And then again, at any given time, typically maybe 2 to 3 trainees at a given time.
Oh, thank you. And then just lastly, how does this proposed salary range align with other neighboring cities in regards to their police trainees, and if this method has been adopted elsewhere?
Yes, with that, I know the chief has spoken in great lengths and HR as well. It's, again, the state of the profession, it's tough right now trying to hire for police officers or safety in general. And some cities have already moved to this kind of more aggressive approach to recruitment. We did do a quick survey of around 13 cities. Culver City, Torrance, Downey have already implemented this, or the trainee and regular full-time police officer at the current rate. We have another handful of cities that are eyeing at potentially doing it to be a little more aggressive. I know we have another city that is currently looking to maybe kind of following our suit here. But again, just in talking with the chief and with our acting city manager, trying to find an approach that's a little more aggressive in the market to be competitive, where it's already tough to recruit for this level of position. But this will at least get us a little more competitive in the market.
Thank you. I appreciate that feedback. And just as a general comment, I know previously Mayor Torres did describe about, I think, a city that offered about, I think, like a 75,000 sign-on bonus, which is obviously funding that we don't have when it comes to recruitment, and understanding that, you know, throughout the region, we are experiencing issues when it comes to recruitment for public safety positions. So I do appreciate just kind of this more innovative approach to how we can increase some of those benefits to hopefully incentivize more applicants. Thank you.
Continuing down the line, Councilmember Jimenez. Councilmember Melendez.
No questions.
And I have no questions. I will entertain a motion.
I'll motion to approve.
There's a motion by Mayor Pro Tem to approve. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Councilmember Tamayo. Mr. City Clerk, please take roll.
Councilmember Tamayo,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Peralta,
Aye.
Councilmember Jimenez, Councilmember Melendez,
Aye.
Mayor Torres.
Aye. The item passes unanimously. Moving on to the consent calendar, Mr. City Attorney.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. At this time, all matters under the consent calendar are considered to be routine. Any items a member wishes to discuss, including any item the public submitted speaker cards for, should be designated at this time. All other items may be approved in a single motion. Such approval will also waive the reading of any ordinance. The city clerk has informed the mayor and myself that we do have 2 speaker cards, one for item number 17 and the other one for item number 20. So with that, and it should also be noted that item 19 was pulled. So I will be polling the council for all other items. That's 9 through 21, with the exception of 17 and 20, and of course 19 will not be discussed this evening. And with that, if I may poll the council, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, please.
Councilmember Tamayo, do you have any items of consent that you wish to be discussed separately?
No items.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Peralta?
No items?
Thank you. Councilmember Jimenez? Councilmember Melendez?
No items.
And also Mayor Torres?
No items.
Thank you. Okay, so then it'd be appropriate to entertain a motion to approve 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18, and 21.
Can I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Councilmember Melendez. Is there a second? Second by Councilmember Jimenez. Mr. City Clerk?
Councilmember Tamayo,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Peralta,
Aye.
Councilmember Jimenez, Councilmember Melendez,
Aye.
Mayor Torres.
Aye.
I will then take us to item number 17, Mr. Mayor, and this is the consideration of approving a second amendment to Commercial Cannabis Business Development Agreement number 14-19. And there is one speaker card on this item, Mr. City Clerk.
Yes, we have Ana B. Jurado for agenda item number 17.
Good evening. Yes, I have in my possession Sunday's Whittier Daily News. The headline reads, "Indictment implicates ex-city lawyer who assisted in bribery schemes to help secure pot cannabis permits." I continued reading the article, only to learn to my surprise that, and I quote, "The federal investigation reportedly crosses into multiple cities, including Baldwin Park, Montebello, El Monte, and Commerce." Question, Mr. City Attorney, Mayor Torres, Council, would anyone care to enlighten me as to why would anybody recommend to the City Council to approve, as stated in today's agenda, line 17 for pot cannabis business development, when the city of Montebello is reportedly on the federal investigation list? Shouldn't the city of Montebello wait to be cleared of any implications regarding any schemes? I strongly believe, as do the federal investigators, if there's smoke, there's fire. Can't the council be transparent and let citizens of our city know what the importance and why should line 17 in today's agenda be approved? Who's benefiting and how much? Thank you. Here's the paper. Anybody wants to see it?
I will look across the dais and see if any of my colleagues have any additional comments or questions. Mayor Pro Tem Peralta? Councilmember Jimenez? I apologize. Councilmember Tamayo?
No questions.
Councilmember Melendez?
No questions.
At this time, I'll take a motion to approve the item.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Councilmember Melendez. Is there a second? I'll second the item. Mr. City Clerk?
Councilmember Tamayo?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Peralta?
Aye.
Councilmember Jimenez? Aye. Councilmember Melendez?
Aye.
Mayor Torres?
Aye, and the item passes unanimously. Moving on to item number 20, adopt City Council Resolution number 2370, naming a certain public street, quote, Top Golf Drive, and Resolution number 2371, authorizing the renaming of the Montebello Golf Course to Bella Verde Resort at Montebello and renaming a portion of Via San Clemente Road from North Garfield Avenue to the south entrance of the City of Montebello Golf Course as Bella Verde Drive. Mr. City Clerk, we have a public comment.
Yes, we have Margot Iser for agenda item 20.
Well, as you know, you have petitions on file of people who said that the remainder of what used to be a world famous championship 18-hole golf course be designated, as is the law, as a public park and area for outdoor recreation, actual outdoor recreation. And I don't know where the word Bella Verde comes from, because that means beautiful green, and unless that area is preserved as an area where the scouts could go hiking and learn about nature and all that, then that would be a farce. I don't know why we're supporting a golf course in Diamond Bar. I just started talking.
You still have a,
Thank you.
we'll pause the time.
I'm going to try to be calm and peaceful here, but the point is we're supporting a golf course in Diamond Bar when ours is destroyed. A 9-hole thing is not really a golf course, it's just a plaything. And that whole Top Golf advertising their entertainment venue is kind of, I don't know, I don't know what they mean by resort. Does that mean they want to build another hotel up there or something? You already have 2 parasitic Hiltons. And then it also says country club, and that has to be changed. So the only way the name Beautiful Green would be is to leave the rest of the whole thing that was there as a public park, excuse me, and place for people to get actual outdoor exercise. And that would help by putting in more native plants and have access to it for people who walk their dogs and everything like that. And so I would like to just have an explanation. I don't know who came up with this idea to change this. Maybe just this private profit corporation that's already made a bunch of destroyed half the golf course. So I think maybe before you approve this, you kind of get some more input and maybe try to get some kind of a realistic name for it. Like you did save the Scout House, which is very important. Maybe the name Bicknell would be better to honor the people who donated the land and gave the land to the city. And, it seems like it would be more realistic to call it something more related to the city and not some arbitrary name, because, it's just, we got some problems here about beautiful things. You want to hear my name for the city, maybe to be changed to Mesa Feo because of that thing you did to our beautiful namesake hills. But let's just try to maybe discuss this a little bit more with the public and see why, I don't know who came up with it, and only if there's a guarantee that it would indeed be green and beautiful. But I don't know what this meaning of resort is. I don't know who came up with that. I mean, there are 2 hotels there, but I don't know, maybe it's not like Palm Springs or anything like that. And maybe, I think there should be some more discussion of this before you approve it. Let the public have a little more input on this, and since it is supposed to be a public area, public park and open space, and Top Golf is just already advertising itself, and there's going to be big traffic jams and everything like that. So I don't think we should change the name of the city streets or anything like that either. I think it should just be left as our regular city names. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Iser. I will go down the line for any council questions, comments. Councilmember Tamayo.
No questions, no comments.
Mayor Pro Tem Peralta. Councilmember Jimenez. Councilmember Melendez.
No questions.
I'll just say a very quick comment to some of the points that you brought up, Ms. Iser. You may remember that in the past couple council meetings that this council has rescinded the RFP to build mixed-use structures on the balance of the golf course that has not been developed yet, with the intent to reissue an RFP and create a master plan or a specific plan for to turn that into park space. Bringing down the fences, opening it up to the public, preserving the idea that that space was used for recreation. In that action, we may be adding as many as 40 to 50 acres of park space. So I think one of the challenges that we deal with here on council is how to balance our responsibilities and seeing the future of the city along with respecting and recognizing the past. And when it comes to a property like the golf course, it becomes a very difficult conversation because there's a lot of ideas that are wrapped up in it. There's a lot of history that's wrapped up in it. Whether you are a member of the Montebello Golf Players Club and you've been playing there for decades, or whether you're a new resident and you want to see something different, whether you're a Montebello staff member trying to make it work, or the state auditor saying that you have to change it because it's attritioning money. It has really been a difficult conversation, to see like, okay, how do we balance all of these differing priorities? So I would say that as much as we want to see economic development and opportunity, I've made the comment in the past that by bringing Topgolf into Montebello, it's really changed the conversation citywide. Everything from the property in the north all the way down to the south, people are wondering how they get a piece of the economic opportunity that Topgolf is going to bring. At the same time, looking at the balance of the course and realizing that we have a huge opportunity here to preserve green open spaces, which are in severe need in communities like ours. This council recognizes that and is moving towards that direction, along with, as proposed and brought forward by Councilmember Peralta, looking at our Edison right-of-ways and how we increase park space there. So I would say I'm proud of this council for balancing varying priorities and varying perspectives. It's a difficult task, and not everyone is gonna be happy with every decision, but we are trying to honor our history, honor the intent of some of these original agreements. And in terms of any naming, just looking at the next phase, the next 100 years here of Montebello is like, how do we create new energetic spaces that are kind of maybe in some ways unencumbered from the past and allow for their own kind of vibrancy and their own kind of life. And we here in this room and those that live in this city, and particularly those that have lived here for a long time, it's a kind of special moment for us to see this transition and guide it and take care of it. And as you and other members of the public have spoken, just making sure that we're respecting, honoring, and remembering our history. So with those comments being said, I will take a motion by the council here on item number 20.
I'll make the motion.
And that is a motion to approve the item, Mr. Melendez?
Correct.
Thank you very much. There's a motion by Councilmember Melendez. Is there a second?
I'll second.
A second by Mayor Pro Tem Peralta. Mr. City Clerk?
Councilmember Tamayo,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Peralta,
Aye.
Councilmember Jimenez, Councilmember Melendez,
Aye.
Mayor Torres.
Aye. And that passes unanimously. I would like to note for the public and for everyone present that the entire agenda was passed unanimously. A harmonious council indeed. Moving on to AB 1234, travel reports. Do any of the members have anything to report? And we'll start with Councilmember Tamayo.
Yes, so I attended an annual conference that was held in Sacramento by the League of California Cities. One particular workshop that I think would be beneficial here in the city of Montebello was increasing collaboration between local government and utilities on installing infrastructure. So this had to do with installing infrastructure is an expensive process, especially when you factor in the cost to resurface streets after a project is complete. Increasing the communication between local government, utility companies, and other stakeholders can reduce the costs for everyone. It can minimize traffic interruptions and optimize projects so that multiple projects can be completed at once. So I some of the takeaways was that we can work a lot closer with our utility companies to try to come up with a schedule of when streets are going to be paved. And that way the utilities companies can go into those streets and do the work that they have to before the city comes and repaves those streets. So I think we can work more collaboratively with the utility companies to try to create an effort on that front. And also, yeah, it was mainly that, but also looking into, I know we have a capital improvement budget that goes 5 years, so we can use that tool to work with the utility companies. The other issue was, I know a moratorium. They, a lot of the cities use moratoriums to try to effectuate this issue. So I know the city of Montebello has a moratorium, and is it for citywide or just for a part of the city? And do we effectuate that moratorium? And you know, what's going on with that?
At this time, I can have the acting Public Works Director, Rita Montalvo, come up and speak to a couple of those items as she's walking up here. We do have much of that information you referenced available, and so what we'll be doing is updating our website to update all those information so that's readily available for all the utilities to access pretty quickly, but she can give you a little brief overview of what our current moratorium policy is.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Okay, so good evening. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and City Council members. Thank you for your question. I appreciate it. Yes, you're correct. The city has a street moratorium, and it's very important for us because what it is, just to give you a little bit of background, it was adopted in March 27, 2019, I think. And then so what it is any streets that we do, any streets, this could be any existing street that we do any work, any repayment after we complete the work, during 5 years, we don't allow any work to be done on our street. Because, and then the reason why that we don't allow that, and a lot of cities do that, is because we want to maintain, first of all, the quality of the payment, because you see that beautiful, nice street. We want to make sure that the people that are driving the street are safe, they looks nice, and also the street lasts for a long time, right? And then, so that's the main, and also we want to make sure that the money that we allocated for those streets is well spent. So when we have, let's say, we do allow utilities to do some work on the street, but this is only on emergency cases. And only when we have emergencies, let's see, for example, they have a water leak, right? And then, then we coordinate with them and we let them actually cut our street. But the reason why we have this moratorium is because we allow this utility to start cutting the streets, then the payment start weaken, right? So then we start having the life of the street. Let's say if one street was gonna last for 10, 15 years, now with all those cuts, water start going into the payment, then we reduce the life of the street. So that's one of the reasons why we need to actually work very close with the utilities and then make sure they know that whatever they're gonna put back on the trench, on the cut, it has to be what we actually recommend. We have specifications that what they need to do. They cannot just put a slurry cell. They need to actually grind and overlay and make it like a smooth pavement, right? So in this way, it will help also the drivers, so they won't drive. And then, like somebody was saying before, they don't want to feel the bump on the road, right? So we have to make sure also that the street is paved correctly. So that's one of the reasons why we really enforce the street moratorium. But as you were saying, that we need to coordinate to utilities, and what we want to do right now, that's in our to-do list, we do have a list of streets that we have a map. We have a GIS map. In that map, when you click on the street, it would tell you actually the information of the street, that this street has been worked from this time to this time. So we are actually piling an Excel sheet that we want to put it on the website. So these utilities, so they can plan ahead when they're thinking about, oh, I want to do work on, let's say, World Cup. So they go to the website and see, oh, this street has a moratorium. Maybe if it's not emergency, maybe I can wait whatever time the expiration of the moratorium is going to be, and maybe they can wait and do the work in advance. I don't know, sorry, maybe I gave you too much information, I apologize. I got excited about my street.
No, thank you, because that was one of the, I know one of the priorities for residents is the streets and, and the improvement of the infrastructure. So this would be very helpful. So I'm looking forward to that information, and I am willing to help out in any way I can in my capacity.
Appreciate it, thank you.
So I'm next in line? Yes. So I was able to attend two events. The first one was NALEO's Educational Fund Policies Institute on Emergency Response and Management in Dallas. And I received a scholarship for this, so it was an expense to the city, but it was a 2-day event that convened Latino electeds across 13 states. And we basically, throughout the 2 days, did workshops to just understand best practices that would strengthen our government skills that support effective leadership during times of crisis. So in the past year, the city of Montebello experienced its first tornado in the city, and I believe region's history, as well as a hurricane, what was it, I think about a month or so over. And so being able to really understand, as an elected official, how we can work with staff and really understanding the incident command system that has been adopted nationwide for the control and coordination of emergency response was extremely essential. It was a very intensive 2 days of role-playing, of working together to really play out emergency scenarios that could happen within our cities, and how each role, the responsibilities of each role within the incident command system works, and really understanding how that would play out if it was to happen, or how we would use it within our own city was extremely essential. We were all able to receive a certificate approved by the Homeland Security for the completion of the ICS training for elected officials and executives. And this was just a really wonderful event put on by NALEO to be able to meet legislators and electeds all across the United States, and especially Latinos, and being able to get this training, seeing as climate change is beginning to affect our communities with really devastating type of effects. It's really important for us to just understand what our role is, as well as how we can facilitate roles in crisis management for staff. And second was League of California Cities that I attended with Councilmember Tamayo in Sacramento. Another incredible opportunity to meet other electeds across the state of California. I really enjoyed the session on utilities and infrastructure, and to kind of expand a little bit on some of the points that Councilmember Tamayo touched on, is just how important it is for our cities to really work in conjunction with our utilities, especially as we have major capital improvement projects coming to the city, to ensure that once those projects are fully fulfilled, utilities don't come back and cut trenches or mess up our streets after we've already spent hundreds to millions of dollars in those capital improvement budgets. And so some of the best practices that were adopted by some other cities were similar to Montebello, was a moratorium to not allow utility companies to basically come in and cut trenches after a street has been newly paved. Another best practice that I would love to implement and will definitely bring forth through my council roles, similarly to one that I brought previously, one of the cities actually conducts quarterly meetings
meetings with their utility companies. So in these quarterly meetings, they basically share the upcoming capital improvement projects that will be happening within that year, as well as the 5-year plan. And they actually coordinate with the utilities in regards to ensuring that they go in and basically cut trenches and do what they have to do prior to some of these projects being fulfilled and the streets being repaved. I know previously I brought forth a item with our water purveyors. We have 5 water purveyors of the city of Montebello, and convening them through these quarterly types of meetings is essential to ensure that our residents received comprehensive and uniformed information, and that we're up to date among just the varying different policies and regulations when it comes to water. So I think having that on the utilities end, on a quarterly basis, would be really beneficial to try to mitigate any of these issues that we see with our streets being, destroyed at points because of utilities having to come in and do their work. We also attended another session in regards to how our communities can work best with our police department, and that was very informative. We had the police chief of Torrance and I believe the police chief of Bakersfield, and they shared their best practices. And we also did attend another session that was also essential, which is how council can best work with our executive teams and our city managers to ensure just collaboration and to move projects along. And so that concludes my reporting for travel. Thank you.
Councilmember Jimenez. Councilmember Melendez.
Nothing to report.
And I will say that I initially intended to attend the League of California Cities in Sacramento, but after travel arrangements were made, some advice by medical professionals ended up keeping me at home, and I had to unfortunately cancel those arrangements. So that concludes AB 1234 travel reports. We have no council agency orals. Before we adjourn this evening, I would ask my colleagues if we could adjourn this meeting in memory of my mother, Janice Ann Torres, who passed away on Thursday, September 21st, after a short and incredibly aggressive battle with Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease. I think first I just want to extend my really deep and heartfelt thanks to those colleagues that took time to reach out and support, to just share a word of condolences and prayers. And also all the community members who took time to either make food for my family, keep my mom company, as my dad kind of was going through very intense scheduling issues between trying to get physicians in place and equipment in place. The disease was just progressed so incredibly fast. From the time of her diagnosis on August 17th, week by week, you could see the change in her memory, in her speech, in her ability to move around. But one of the things that was really incredible was her ability to still make a room laugh with her eyes when she couldn't speak, with a funny short quip or joke. She definitely kept her sharp wit about her for a very long time. The support of the community, has really just kind of uplifted my family. And also in sharing this story, I just want to thank also all of those individuals that came forward talking about their personal heartaches and their personal experiences with loss, because this is definitely one of those things where you can get lost in the darkness of feeling very alone in this, and in those conversations just realizing that this is part of the human condition, and so many of us are kind of suffering silently while trying to do an incredible job in the things that we're doing. But I do want to share a little bit about my mom. She was born June 17th, 1961. And some of the things that like really stick out to me about how she talked about her upbringing is that, it was Latinas born in the 60s didn't have a great deal of opportunities for upward mobility. It was still very much a conservative culture. Women were kind of expected to stay home or have support jobs. And my mom wanted different for herself, and she wanted different for her kids. In her late 20s, she was doing night school at Cal State Long Beach while she had me at 1 and 2 years old, and she persisted and got her bachelor's degree. She started in the city of Montebello not too long after I was born in 1989, where she met my dad. My dad talks about the story where he first met her in his office, because I guess the HR manager at the time liked to introduce the people that were working, so my dad would be familiar with who was in the office. And he talks about how she just kind of, if you remember the old city administrator's office, she kind of marched across this long office straight up to his desk, stuck out her hand and said, "Hi, I'm Janice." And it's that kind of bold, and forward actions that I think my family best remembers her for. She was an adventurous spirit that was always willing to ask, well, what about this and what about that? Let's try this. And this constant like hunger for life and for experience, and to just like, and when I was 6 and 7 years old, ripping the covers off at like 7 o'clock in the morning, telling me life happens in the daytime. And as a kid, I was so upset. My friends would be bragging about how they stayed in until 10, 11 o'clock at night. But, and I was like sad that I didn't get to sleep in. But those habits and so many others that she instilled in me and my siblings persist to this day, where if, I've gone golfing with anyone, we have those 5 o'clock and 5:30 a.m. tea times. And when I kind of get a groan from someone, I tell them exactly what my mom told me. I say, life happens in the daytime. She was a wonderful mother that always looked out for her family, really wanting the best for us, and also someone in the community that didn't make a lot of noise about all the positive things that she was doing. And one of the things through this experience that has been really profound, that has profoundly affected me, are all these stories of individuals saying how my mom helped them, whether it would be, giving them a car ride to their medical appointments, taking care of their children while they were recovering from injuries, financially supporting them with furniture, finding them jobs, finding them housing. I mentioned in my Facebook post that my mom looked out for the least of us, and it is so, so true. Tonight, closing in her, and I also want to mention these things. I would like to just give thanks to Supervisor Solis and the County Board of Supervisors, who closed yesterday's meeting in her honor, the Civil Service Commission, who last night closed the meeting in her honor, and the National Latino Peace Officers Association, who also closed their meeting in her honor. My mom was a 30-year municipal employee, always stayed staff, 3 decades in public service, and actually 18 years here at the city of Montebello, just down the hallway where I and my siblings grew up. So Mom, we love you and we will miss you very much. If we can please just have a moment of silence for my mom, Janice Torres.
If I may, Mayor Torres, I'd also like to add my father to adjourn this meeting. Today would be his birthday. He'd be turning 73, and he passed away 2 months after I was elected into office. So I'd like to add my father's name, Miguel Jimenez, to the adjournment.
And your father's name?
Miguel Jimenez.
So closing in honor of Miguel Jimenez and Janice Torres. Thank you very much. We are adjourned this evening at 8:52.